United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Policy meetings meeting to order. First up, we have the consent agenda. Does anyone on the council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? If not, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted, Mayor.
Second.
McMahon.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Thank you. Next, we have comments from the public. Does anyone here that would like to speak to the council about something not on the agenda? I don't think so, but have to ask. Okay. All right, unfinished business. First, we have a public hearing for a dangerous structure at 610 East Kaskaskia Street. Ready, Mitch?
We need a motion to open the public hearing. Okay, when open the public hearing.
Oh, yes, we have
When
to
you
open public. I'm not used to this.
You're fine, you're good.
All right, so first we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing regarding 610 East Kaskaskia.
Second.
McMahon.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Thank you. Okay, now,
So on February 11th, 2025, City Council passed a resolution to set a public hearing to determine if the barn located at 610 East Kaskaskia Street shall be deemed dangerous and ordered repaired or demolished. The city clerk has sent notifications of the public hearing in accordance with KSA 12-1752. Building inspector Trevor Buckles has conducted the preliminary investigation and prepared a formal report of the structure located at 610 East Kaskaskia for the city council to review. I have visited the property since the public hearing was scheduled in February and have not observed any progress on the repair or demolition of this structure. City council may pass a resolution ordering the structure to be repaired or a resolution to order the structure to be demolished. If the council decides to order the structure to be repaired, staff recommends allowing 6 months for the repairs to take place and the structure to be made safe. If the council decides to order the structure to be demolished, staff recommends allowing 60 days for the demolition to take place. These recommendations are based on the time period building permits and demolition permits are valid for. As an alternative, governing body may decide the building is not dangerous based on evidence provided by the owners or interested parties. Staff recommendation is approving resolution 2025-004, deeming the structure at 610 East Kaskaskia Street dangerous and ordering it to be demolished within the next 60 days. In your packets is Inspector Buckles' inspection report as we went over the previous meeting. Some items to note on it for deficiencies are rotten wood throughout the building. The building is completely open to elements due to the lack of doors and holes in the wood siding throughout. Animals have been seen moving freely in and out of the building. Vegetation has completely taken over the existing exterior of the building. Vegetation from the building has spread to adjacent power pole and is now covering it as well. It has a lack of vertical wall studs, so it's missing several studs throughout. I believe this was just how it was built, but it is not up to today's code standards. Some wall sections span approximately 8 feet without any support posts, and wall sections appear to only be held up by rotten wood siding. It has broken windows on the south and east sides of the building, and the roof of the building is in disrepair, allowing weather entrance from above. Yeah, I've driven by there. I've done a full inspection myself, but driving by there hasn't been any progress in repairing it or demoing it. I've spoken to the owner of the property over the last year through email, trying to coordinate the demolition, and kind of what started me to present it to you guys is that I stopped hearing from them. I recently was contacted by a family member of the owner who was going to try to help her in getting somebody to demo it. That was approximately a month or two ago. I haven't heard anything since then. Again, at this point, I'd recommend demolition.
This one discussed or during the resolution? Item,
I'm sorry, what?
is this the one that we discussed or during the resolution? Do we close the public hearing first?
I would see if there's anyone in the crowd that wants to speak and
And
then,
then close the
Yes.
PDA. Okay. Is there anybody that wants to speak on 610 East Kaskaskia? Okay, seeing nobody, I will suggest that we make a motion to close the public hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
McMahon,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for refreshing my memory.
It's been a while since we
It's
had.
been a little while, thankfully. Okay, so now consider a resolution of findings and the resolution numbers 2025-004.
I got one question of our city manager. We got funds set over there to do this, don't we?
Yes.
Well, with that being said, let me get the right page here. Or if somebody's ahead of me, go ahead. I move to approve resolution 2025-004, deeming the structure at 610 East Kaskaskia dangerous and ordering it to be demolished within the next 60 days. Ms. Mayor.
I'll second that.
McMahon,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Thank you. All right, next we have a public hearing for dangerous structure at 209 North Perth. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing?
I move to open the public hearing regarding 209 North Pearl.
Is there a second?
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay,
So. Back. Pretty much same thing. On February 11th, 2025, council passed a resolution to set the public hearing to determine if the house located at 209 North Pearl Street shall be deemed dangerous and ordered repaired or demolished. City clerk has sent notifications of the public hearing in accordance with KSA 12-1752. Inspector Trevor Buckles has conducted the preliminary investigation and prepared a formal report of the structure located at 209 North Pearl Street for the city council to review. Since public hearing was set in February, I have visited the property and have not seen progress in repairing or demolishing this structure. For discussion, city council may pass a resolution ordering the structure to be repaired or a resolution to order the structure to be demolished. If the council decides to order the structure to be repaired, staff recommends allowing 6 months for repairs to take place and the structure to be made safe. If the council decides to order this structure to be demolished, staff recommends allowing 60 days for demolition to take place. These, again, recommendations are based upon time period for building permits and different permits. As an alternative, the governing body may decide the building is not dangerous based on evidence provided by the owners or interested parties. Or I would like to add, it's not in your memo, the council can decide to table this at a later date. Staff recommendation is approving resolution 2025-005, deeming the structure at 209 North Pearl Street dangerous and ordering it to be repaired and made safe within the next 6 months. Notes for this inspection were, and the main part of it is a rotten wood wall on it's throughout the building, but primarily on the north side of the building, there's severe wood rot. I've spoken to the homeowner and this has started to be fixed within the last year. He did get a permit, had an engineer inspection. And then what prompted this was I failed to see any more progress. Holes in siding allowing elements and animals to enter wall cavities. Roof over the rear porch is deteriorated and falling in. There's vegetation growing up inside of the house and windows. Cracks and separation of the foundation in multiple spots. missing rotten wood, missing and rotten soffits and fascia on the roof, allowing weather entrance. No electricity or city utilities to the house since 2018. Missing gutters, allowing water to collect around the foundation. And the rear yard is full of trash harboring vermin.
Okay. I know we have someone that would like to speak on this property.
My name's Dennis Steele.
Can you come to the?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Figured I'd just have to talk loud. Raymond Steele is the owner, I'm his son. But the porch is already torn off. That's what I better tell you that you said we weren't making progress. I know it wasn't a lot, but it was a cold winter. And the progress I had made on jacking up the wall, it took like a month and a half, and I got it to go about 1 inch, and then it rained real hard. And it literally lost it all. So it just kind of set me back, and I had sickness and vacation, but besides the excuses, we got an agreement to sell it to Sunflower Real Estate that he signed today. If that, I don't know how this works, but
Okay.
that's good.
All right,
So,
thank
Alright.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else from anyone? Okay,
Is there a contract date on the,
today's date,
I mean,
that's right,
that it would close?
within 30 days or sooner, right?
Okay.
30 days, by May 6th is the date that's on it.
okay. Any other questions?
Is it proper for me to ask the applicant or the gentleman a couple questions here? It's all, if you don't want to, thank you. It's my understanding you're coming to the council today and you're saying that you signed a contract to sell the house. It's going
Correct.
to close on May 6th. And then there'll be another person that's gonna, a realtor, whoever, will have that house at that time. And I guess you're probably out of the business again. Is there any assurances you can give the council that? Because like I said, and everything that's in there, like the rear yard's full of trash, and that just didn't happen yesterday. And a bunch of
Right,
other
well,
stuff.
most of that was cleaned out until yesterday. Somebody mentioned that if the house is condemned, they're not gonna let you in it. So I'm like, okay, well, I gotta get stuff out then. You know, I don't know how this works. I was gonna go talk to Mitch and see, but other people are like, don't go talk to him. So
Well,
we didn't know what to do, and I was waiting on somebody to come through today to make an offer before I accepted this other offer.
Okay.
So, but my dad's one that actually, he came down to, do it, but everything will be cleaned up. Everything will be gone, and the new guy has already been through it, took all the pictures. I'm assuming everybody knows him probably, know the
No.
company Sunflower. He said they used to be here in Paola, now they're somewhere else, but, okay, but
Is he going to tear the house down, or?
I think he's fixing it up. Like he wants to, whatever they said, stabilize it, redo the whole house. This is what they do for their company, so.
Well, what about, I guess my main concern is one that was mentioned here, and I have been by the house, it says in the ward that I represent, is, the rear yard is full of trash, which harbors vermin. Is that gonna get cleaned up in the next 30 days?
All the stuff back there?
Yeah, or has it
It'll-
been?
Right,
So all the stuff is back there, and I haven't been back there here lately.
right.
That all the stuff that was.
Don't look at it today.
What?
I don't look at it today. I was trying to get stuff out of the house and we're getting it moved and I'm getting a U-Haul truck. In the next few days, if I can still walk after.
There has been a lot of movement on
It's
them
all
cleaning
out.
stuff out today. I will say
It's
that.
all out on the park.
I guess what-
But what I didn't put out on the curb was actual like trash that I'm hauling to a dumpster and hauling to the dump. And I looked, when I did this before and I was getting rid of stuff, I always made sure the funeral home didn't have services and all that. And if they did, I always moved it back to the porch or beside the house. I mean. Which I'm assuming trash days this weekend or next weekend,
spring cleanup,
spring cleanup, right?
Saturday.
But the stuff that I might put up to that, I actually have behind house, few max and stuff like that.
So I'm on, in the house, but I'm talking about all that, that's the movement I'm seeing, stuff being picked out behind the house.
It'll,
And
right,
I'm getting a lot of head shakes here. Okay.
It'll
Head
be,
shakes, all
there
right.
won't be one thing back there
Okay.
when we're done within, hopefully the next couple of weeks.
All right.
Every lawnmower, every wagon will be, thrown away, hauled off, whatever.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
thank you, sir.
We'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing on 209 North Pearl Street.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a question.
Aye.
Well, we have to take a vote first.
Brown, Shields,
We're voting to close the
close
public
public,
hearing.
yeah.
Oh,
And then we can
Aye.
discuss.
okay.
Aye.
Okay, Brown.
Aye.
Shields,
Aye.
All right,
no discussion.
okay, so now we need to consider the resolution, we can move forward, or since he may have a buyer, we can table this until May, and we can wait for Mitch to follow up and make sure the contract went through, if you guys want to do that as well.
I would recommend to at least table it.
Table it until May, and give it the time for the sale to go through.
Well, let me get the time, because I think you just said.
May
May
sixth or
6th.
before is what you said.
Right,
Yeah.
May 6th. And I might go to the library to print it out
Yes.
for you guys, but.
What day is
That's
that?
before our next meeting,
that would
The
be
13th.
Yeah, that would be the work study in May 6th.
so we would know
Where we've been.
probably at the day of the work study, yeah,
And if not, we'll know at least by the council.
by the council meeting.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do that, I think that would be a good, not. Sunflower Real Estate sounds familiar to me.
It used to be right there in the corner.
Yes,
I know the main guy, Seth and Kevin came out, but the guy that signed the contract is Joseph Latine or something like that.
they used to have the office, across Simple Simons, across, by on
Okay.
Silver Street.
Okay,
They used to also, I think, be up there repentance.
I just- in the past, there's been buyers that have continued to let things sit.
Absolutely.
So I just want to make sure it wasn't one of those.
Oh,
They bought, well, quite a few houses in town, and I don't know that they've fixed them up per se, but they've
At
cleaned
least
them up.
stabilize them and,
And,
okay.
and rented them out.
Mhm.
with the new owner, it doesn't mean the structure is gonna be safe. We will still be able to move forward and give them a time limit to make it safe. It
Right.
doesn't have to be pretty,
Yeah.
it just
Right.
has to be safe.
Right.
So this won't completely erase everything. we've
Right,
done
we
before.
continue with the process
Yeah.
and watch, because you can always stop
Yes,
if they, which we've done before.
yes.
Okay. So I would, we need a motion to table if they want to table it.
Yes,
Yeah, if staff's comfortable with that, which I believe they are with the head nods, that we table this motion for 30 days until the next council meeting. Terminology hopefully will come out right.
I second.
McMahon.
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Shields,
Aye.
Okay, so we'll table it. Make sure you follow up with staff.
Good luck with the gentleman.
And he said he would be in contact with, the city
Mhm.
right away, so.
And just a heads up, you are allowed to be in there, do what you need to do.
Okay, well, I didn't know, but at the same time, I wanted to get it down to.
Yep.
you can
I
always
have
call,
been-
by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
My door is-
Tell me, they're not your friend. I'm like, well, I just feel like, trust me, that's the thing.
At the end of the day, we want the property to be safe.
Right, and that's,
Yeah.
we want it to be gone, we
Yeah.
Communication is always good.
So,
Yeah.
all right,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Now the,
I don't want to influence people.
Yeah. You do.
council election.
Yes, okay, so, Ward 2 council seat became vacant after Deborah Hayes moved and was no longer eligible. Residents were notified by an ad in the newspaper, Facebook, and the City of Paola website. Interested qualified electors of Ward 2 were asked to submit a letter stating their qualifications for serving on the council, prior experience, and why they believe they should be selected. The deadline was March 31st at 4 o'clock to submit letters. I received 3 letters, all are voters in the board, but I did get a notice from Aaron Foreman today. He withdrew his letter.
Okay,
So there are 2 here.
and they're both here, yeah.
Yes, to discuss.
If I could have both of you come up and just introduce yourselves, please, one at a time. You can. Thank you for your interest, both of you.
Anthony Hugo, 5 East Chippewa. My wife and I just moved here in October and And this is my first council meeting that I've attended. I've read the minutes for the last 3 or 4 months. I didn't have a stable work schedule, but I finally got a good work schedule, so I can attend meetings now. But had a big civic interest ever since my military service. Been interested in urbanism, walkability, improving the built environment that we have, and that's what attracted us to Paola initially, coupled with the quality of life that's offered here. I had family in Miami County, so I was familiar with the area, and it just seemed like the right fit. And when I saw this opening, I figured throw my hat in the ring. I have some decent ideas, I like to think, and have a fresh perspective on things. Feel like I can bring some new ideas into the fold and hopefully continue Paola on a good trajectory.
Thank you.
My name's Jacob Walker. Most of you know me as the guy who owns the cafe in town. I'm really kind of interested. I want a chance to directly influence the decisions impacting our community, contribute to the city's growth and prosperity. Most importantly, is advocate for resources and service for the community, having kids in the local school and using our park systems. My kids both play competitive sports. I also have a little one that is special needs, so I like to advocate for him a lot. And I've grown up in Paola, returned here to be a small business owner, and just want to do the best I can for the community, basically.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Right, does anybody have any other questions for the applicants?
I believe, Mr. Brown, do you have any questions? I have one.
I do. Go ahead.
No. Thank you very much. I'll start with you first. It's just one quick question. Is, if you come up to the podium. Yeah, that way everybody can hear you. And I'm not gonna talk so specifically about City of Paola. If you were going to sit there and have one need in the ward that you're wanting to represent, what would that be?
Livability, the quality of life for the citizens of that ward. So
Okay.
any of their basic needs that they fulfill aren't being met, or whatever they see as something that could be improved. That's what I would try and champion the best I can.
All right, well, thank you. I'm gonna ask you the same question there. Mr. Walker.
John?
Most importantly to me in my ward is Wallace Park. I spent my childhood in Wallace Park. I hope my kids spend their childhood in Wallace Park, and feel like that's the biggest resource in my ward, kind of thing, to the community. So it means a lot to me. Plus, I live across the street from it. Love it. But
Mr. Brown?
I'll shift gears. Sorry, I had somebody big right here. Small business is a vital part of the city. And as a small businessman and having that perspective, what do you feel like that the city can do that's meaningful to help small business?
I mean, one of the most important things is bringing activities in. I see a lot of business from the baseball games, the competitive sports just this weekend up at the schools. Brought in a lot of business for me. I'm sure it does for the gas stations. Roots Fest is a big one, the car show, doing stuff like that for the community, I really feel is the best we can do is just try and have events and have people come to town to spend money in town. Cool.
Anthony, I got a couple questions for you. You mentioned that you worked with the Urban Lab KC on multiple different projects. Can you speak about one of the projects that you worked on and what you felt like was maybe more significant about that project and what was the outcome?
We worked with the Plaza Neighborhood Association with a conceptual idea for a walkable plaza design in the Country Club Plaza downtown Kansas City, and took some of their input, some of the business owners' ideas, and presented a conceptualized rendering of what was possible and pitched that to both the city manager and the mayor of Kansas City, Missouri. And that was used as a jumping off point for both the neighborhood and the city to negotiate with the new ownership and kind of steer the direction of what they were intending to do with the future plans for the plaza. That was started just with an email between one of our members of the Urban Lab Group and the neighborhood association.
And what exactly was your role?
I did communications and outreach. So I was the communication point between the city, between the neighborhood association and our group, as well as different engagements with media, with the idea and the conceptualization of it, and presented the ideas that we had, did a few interviews on it, and helped to do the public speaking session when we did a listening session with the neighborhood.
You also mentioned that you would apply your skills to Ward 2, and your priorities would be safe streets, affordable housing, and well-maintained parks. Are those areas that you see that need attention, or are those priorities to your, just in general?
It's a mix. There's definitely improvement that can always be done. Those are some of the areas that I've found myself focusing on in a lot of my experience, because those are some of the failings that we've had across the board in the United States, not specifically to Paola. And some of the ideas are a little more niche. Some of them are things that aren't really heavily publicized or talked about. And I think that my interest in some of those different branches and categories of the built environment can help to bring some of those new ideas to light that might otherwise not be discussed or explored.
Can you give an example of some of the difficult decisions you mentioned that you've been involved in, that they wouldn't be an issue for you? Can you give an example of a difficult decision you had to make?
Absolutely. In my National Guard unit that I'm in, I serve as a jump master. So I'm directly in control of the lives of paratroopers whenever they're exiting an aircraft. And there's been a few instances where I was in charge of a single aircraft as part of the operation, and I had to make a decision on whether, because of the fact that, you know, wind speeds and different weather elements can influence the operation and can lead to injuries and things like that. So even with leadership who outranked me pushing for the operation to go ahead, I made a decision to not execute an operation in order to maintain the safety and well-being of my soldiers.
This is a little bit more dicey question, but you mentioned 4 times in your letter and then twice in your introduction that you're going to be bringing youth and new perspective, which the converse idea would be then that you think we're old. Like this. Do you, what? You have no municipal experience in government, but you do have your experience in the urban lab. What do you feel like, since you emphasize that, I'm gonna ask you like what, where your thoughts are.
That's a good question. I appreciate that. I think it's the fact that across the United States, the demographic trends have been young people migrating out of rural areas and either into suburban, exurban, or even, you know, central urban areas. And I feel like I'm kind of bucking the trend with that idea. My wife and I are in our mid-20s. We just had 2 kids, and we decided to move to a rural area very deliberately. And some of the ideas that younger generations might be taking out of the rural area, I am trying to bring some of those ideas into it. It's not to say that you know, the people in this town or you counsel, the, you know, the leadership here doesn't have those ideas or maybe doesn't have the same insight as I do, but it's just the fact that my experiences have been different than your guys'. I grew up in a different generation, and I feel like it gives a new perspective to how some things are going to happen going forward, different trend lines for the direction that things are going, commerce, housing, society as a whole. And I feel like that having varied perspectives across the council is important to kind of staying ahead of those trends and not trying to chase everybody, but being on the forefront.
All the questions I have. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Leanne, do you have any follow-up?
I don't have any.
Everything's been answered?
Not really, but.
Before we make a motion, I just want to tell you both, thank you. When there's a vacant council seat, it's a little nerve-wracking. But I appreciate your interest and your motives, for wanting to fill the seat. So thank you both very much. We have two quality candidates. All right, so now if someone wants to make a motion to nominate,
I just got one thing to say quick again. Thank you both for coming in today and doing that. And, I'm a person that takes democracy very, very seriously. And I'm a person that takes the will of the people. And part of us being uncomfortable up here is that a whole ward is asking us free to take their best interest in and to go ahead and to make sure that we get somebody in there. And it's very, very weighty when you're sitting on this side that a whole ward, fourth of this city has entrusted us three to do that. But that's the rules, and that's what we do as far as that goes. It's tough. Don't think that it isn't. And if nobody wants to make a motion, me as president of the council will make a motion. With that being said, I would nominate Mr. Jacob Walker for the unfulfilled seat in the county. See if there's any interest in Mr. Walker.
is there a second? Motion time, see that? Okay. Is there another motion?
I'll make a motion to nominate Anthony Hugo.
I'll second that.
Ham,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Shields,
Aye.
Again, thanks, everybody.
Thank you both. And Anthony, you may take your seat. I'm gonna give you your oath.
Okay.
Or after your oath. Jake, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, Jacob.
A big chair here for you, Chip. Hello.
you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Anthony Vermeulen,
You solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of Ward 2 council member.
and faithfully discharge the duties of Ward 2 council member.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sign here, please.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
And put you right to work.
I'm all right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That's your book. It has my name in it, so I want it back.
No, no.
At some point. That's kind of how we get started.
That's very helpful.
Did you bring any for that? Gotcha.
All right, new business. CDBG Commercial Rehabilitation, resolution number 2025-006.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm gonna cheat and ask Mr. Brett Wagner of Government Assistance Services if he's willing to present.
I think you did a great job last week, so why not?
Exactly, so, thank you.
I am willing.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. My name is Brett Wagner. I met most of you just last week, but obviously hadn't met this gentleman yet, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm a partner in a company called Governmental Assistance Services based out of Lawrence, Kansas. We are a grant writing and grant administration company. I'm here to talk about the CDBG Commercial Rehab Program, which is a grant program that allows business owners to apply for a grant that will enable them to rehabilitate a business or rehabilitate a building for the purpose of opening a for-profit business. The business owner attended the meeting last week as well, the study session. We talked about the program a little bit. The resolution that's before you it's a very simple resolution. It just states that the council has committed to working with this property owner for this round of the program. This program renews every year, and it's important that the business owner, before he makes the financial investment that he has to make, he wants to know, or she would want to know, that they are the city's loan applicant for the year, because each city can only do one per year. So this is really to protect his financial interests. I would assume if you knew someone else was looking at this program, they would have told you, but as I told you last week, in another city this past year, we found out that not everybody is on the same page all the time. And so we just wanted to be sure that we're first and that we get the resolution to move forward with it. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about the program. If anything popped in your mind after we talked last week. And again, I would just want to remind everybody, I'm very accessible. I can be emailed, text message, phone calls anytime.
Have any questions?
Any questions?
Have any questions? And excited to see
Very much.
what you can do.
Yeah.
Too.
Thank you for your efforts.
Absolutely. You're welcome. My pleasure.
With that being said, I'll prepare to make a motion here. Make a motion that the council approve resolution 2025-006. Support for the community block development grant commercial rehabilitation application. Ms. Mayor.
I'll second that.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
If everything goes well, we could possibly do a public hearing at your next council meeting. I don't know if we'll be able to work quite that fast. It'll be up to the architect. If not, I would anticipate a June public hearing.
Okay.
So I'll coordinate that with your office.
All very exciting.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right, personnel policy changes, resolution 2025-007. So there's just a couple minor adjustments.
Yes, Your Honor. Jessica is not here. I said I will take this so she can go watch her daughter's track meet. So as stated at the work study, we just implemented part-time employees, capers cover positions to be granted vacation hours. It was never the intention to have them paid out like as full-time employees. So we are just clarifying that that's all that these amendments are doing, is clarifying again that part-time capers covered positions will not get their paid out vacation. They get it at the beginning of the year in part full-time accrues. So
Okay.
that's kind of our differentiation.
Clarifications are good.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions on this? If not, is there a motion?
Okay, I move to approve resolution 2025-007, amending the personnel manual effective April 9th, 2025.
Second that. Go ahead, Josh.
That's all right.
You guys run the show on that side.
We're usually in a rhythm, but not
I know.
Go ahead, Josh.
I say.
Okay, McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. My father's house tiny homes final site plan.
At the March 25th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting, commissioners voted unanimously to recommend approval of the final site plan for phase 1 of the tiny home cluster at 1004 North Pearl Street. The site plan was completed by Peppercorn Engineering and Environmental. Plans were reviewed by staff as well as Wilson and Company, and all comments have been satisfied. The applicant has submitted a notice of intent to KDHE, which has also been approved. For zoning, minimum site area required is 1.5 acres, provided in this case is 8.93 acres. Setbacks for street yard and rear yard are 15 feet and 8 feet. Provided are approximately 630 feet and 200 feet. More than enough for a buffer yard. a 6-foot, 100% opaque fence is required, and a 6-foot wooden privacy fence has been provided on the site plan. Parking required is 45 spaces, and provided is 25 in the circle, and to my best guess, 50 or more in the existing parking lot, which is proposed to be overlaid with asphalt as a part of phase 2. Parking surface type. Off-street parking is required to be of an acceptable all-weather surface such as asphalt, concrete, or graded and compacted gravel or other stabilized system. Provided currently is asphalt and gravel. Drainage calculations have been submitted and approved by Wilson and Company. Landscaping, lighting, and signage plans will be submitted and reviewed at staff level during the permitting process. This permit is, or this application is consistent with 21-625 of the LDO and will not be detrimental to the health, safety, or general welfare of the community. Again, Planning Commission's recommendation is the approval of the final site plan for phase 1 of the tiny home cluster at 1004 North Pearl Street.
Anybody have any questions for Mitch on this?
Phase 1 only, that's what.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
I do have a question. On this site plan, I may not see it. Is there any consideration for walkability out of the complex to the rest of town?
Not currently.
Okay.
There's no specific sidewalks.
Okay,
They will have a pedestrian lane striped around the circle. As opposed to sidewalks aren't required for this since it's all on private property. But they went ahead and added that pedestrian lane around it so residents can at least maneuver around it. It is a 24-foot wide street, two-way street. So if you can imagine a typical city street's about 24.
Yeah. Okay.
I just have one question that, Mr. Hugo, it's you, last name's Hugo. Right?
Yes, Hugo.
Thank you. Since I live and I drive by that all the time, putting 44 people right there at some point in the future. They have to cross that street. And then we have a liquor store over there, we have a gas station, we have a Chinese restaurant. We got a dollar store, so I see a lot of people frequently. And it's really not that friendly to go across there, so at some point in the future, the city may have to look at that, not now, but in stretch imagination, so. Good question.
I have a question. You're saying the parking has 45 spaces?
You can have it.
Is that in front of the
Required is 45.
required? In front of the in front of my father's house or in the back?
In total, it's 45. So on the property has to be 45 spaces.
In front and back?
Correct.
Combined,
Yeah, anywhere on the property.
And this isn't going to be in phase 1?
A significant amount of the parking, as you can see in the site plan, is already laid out off street
25.
in the center of the circle. You can see.
I'm talking about the parking lot in front of my father's house presently.
Mhm. That will be utilized as well.
It's not gonna be marked off for parking right away.
it'll be.
No, that's part of phase 2.
Okay. I wish they had put phase 1, phase 2. It would have made it a little more clear, but.
They, on the map, on the site plan, so you can see that bold line. That's separate
Yeah,
phase 1,
yeah, I
phase
know.
2.
Yeah, I know that, but.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
That sits in the board I represent, so I'll go first. I make a motion to approve the final slat of phase 1 of the tiny home cluster located at 104 North Pearl Street, Mr. Mayor.
I second the motion.
McMahon,
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shield.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Next, the property liability and auto insurance renewal.
Oh, yes, so this renewed April 1st. As we discussed, we didn't have the last meeting. There have been no changes. We typically budget for a 10% increase and it came in at 5.4, with no changes. So this is, a great renewal from
Always good
EMC.
news.
We didn't shop around this time because of our dam not being completed. They said no other insurance company would insure us, so.
Next year though,
Yeah, we'll stick with EMC this year.
finally we'll have a name.
5% right now is really very, very good.
That was great.
We're very fortunate for that, I will say, yes, the 5%.
Anybody have any questions on the insurance renewal? And this is what we get the yearly dividend check.
It's about 15,000.
Which will pretty well cover that difference.
Yes, it will. It just about covers that increase, yes.
Mhm. If there are any other questions, if there are a motion,
To approve the insurance renewal provided by the EMC insurance companies to the Elliott Insurance Group in the amount of $214,824 for the coverage year of April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026.
I'll second that.
Man.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown. Shields.
Aye.
all right, motion passed, thank you. The sewer connection rates, ordinance number 3230. For a
Yes.
change, we get to make a motion possibly to stay the same.
Right, it's exciting. As discussed at work study, we went over the previously established stair step fee schedule increase that was implemented in 2006. For our sewer connection fees for single family homes. I say single family homes, but all the other connections are based off this fee as well. It's percentages wise, so this will set and it's gonna keep the same, but it sets like commercial and meter sizes as well. So just to full transparency. Yes, staff is proposing to keep it at 3,750 for the next 5 years. The sewer fund is healthy. All the new connections go directly into the sewer fund, but also at any time, the city council may review it if we do see our fund not being healthy, and we can always go that route if we need to increase it then. But I would like to propose the 5 years to keep it the same.
Good motion, I'll make it.
Right on.
Make a motion that the city count or the city adopt the ordinance 3230, amending the connection and system fees for in the Paola Municipal Code. Yes, Mayor.
I second the motion.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed, thank you. Asphalt bids for the 2025 street improvement program.
I put together a proposed street improvement plan for 2025 and presented it at the work study for feedback and discussion. I received 3 bid proposals for the Paola 2025 2-inch mill and overlay street plan work. And as discussed with city manager, we went with 1 bid for the Mile Lake Dam Road extension because that contractor is already going to be out there performing asphalt work. Budget for the street improvement plan for this year is $430,000. 2-inch mill and overlay bids came in at Kello Construction came in as a low at $214,628.24. McInerney at $225,430. Way and Sons at $252,032 for the 2-inch mill and overlay. And the Kello Construction for the Lake Milo Dam Road extension was $68,193. Multiple funds are used for this improvement plan. We try to utilize the annual budgeted funds first, and then we use the street CIP funds. Staff recommends approving the proposed bids from Kello Construction totaling $282,821.24 for the 2-inch mill and overlay and the 6-inch Mile Lake Dam extension.
We are holding back a little bit, remind me, because of some of the funding we're not sure about.
We
Is that
actually,
this?
after after the meeting, we got approval.
Okay.
We got notice that we would be getting it,
Okay, good.
so we can add more to it later.
Okay, I knew that was talked about last week.
Yeah, was it the next day
Yes,
after the work study, we actually got notification that we would be getting it this
Okay.
year.
Because it's federal funds, right?
the federal fund exchange, yes.
Yes.
I think we have roughly, after this, we have roughly 135,000 left
Very
to
good.
do more projects this year.
Okay,
We've worked with Pillow Construction quite a bit in the past.
A lot, and actually, they're doing the dam work right now too, so.
And they've always been good and
Absolutely, yeah.
we
have a really good working relationship with them, and so.
Anybody have any questions?
What's the lifespan on the 2-inch overlay?
Really, it depends on a lot of things, it really can depend on the base, but, most of the streets we've got are basically. The ones that I'm overlaying this year aren't really, the base isn't falling apart, so we should have a pretty good lifespan, I guess. And Mr. McMahon might be able to help.
We did it 40 years. No, they got a good program here.
Okay.
What people don't realize is that, a 2-inch overlay, where you do the mill and do that, you double your strength by adding 1 inch. So it does make it a long time. So, and again, we don't got enough time for me to sit there and these things give you trouble, but no, they run a good program. They self-inspect. Kilo, I've worked with them since 19 whatever. And they are a quality outfit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I do appreciate that we try to do these right, like when we redo the roads, even though it takes longer to get to all of them, because then we don't have to go back over and over and over.
Yeah, it's, this year, it doesn't look like we're doing quite as much on the list because I'm doing curb to curb rather than, I mean, a lot of times we can cover more streets by doing a narrow patch, but I'm trying to do curb to curb, so we don't have to go back later and do it the other side of that
Right.
street.
A little bit every year is good.
I have one more question.
Sure.
At the bottom there, it says bid does not include testing, tax or sawing, base rock, concrete items, pavement marking.
That's not usually anything that comes up. It's something they put in there to
Okay,
basically cover your rear and.
gotcha.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure there's not gonna be something that pops up
No.
later on.
I haven't ever seen any of that stuff come up, so I
Okay.
really don't have any concerns about it.
I think you guys self-inspect that, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, and this is pretty easy. They got the expertise to self-inspect this easily.
All right, any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I move to approve the proposed bids from Kellogg Construction totaling $282,821.24.
I'll second that motion.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Thank you. 2025 sewer lining plan. More maintenance.
Public Works has used CIPP, it's secured in place pipe for several years to rehab aging infrastructure in the sewer system. The CIPP process is trenchless, so it requires little to no excavation in the streets or in the yards. So it's not disturbing residents' yards or disrupting traffic. Completion of the process leaves a new, very durable pipe. Kevin Richardson, the utility superintendent, solicited pricing for the sanitary sewer rehab program for 2025. He's planning to line 1,403 linear feet of sewer pipe. And I apologize, that number there, I forgot to change on there. It says 40,000. It's actually the $67,344. That 40,000 is the last time we were able to do it, which that's, the price has gone up.
Tells you how much it's going.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to do it last year because the price jumped up so much.
Which the correct numbers on our agenda packet.
And Citroform has performed this service for the city of Halo for a number of years with great success. Their bids have been consistently lower than competitors, and we have no reservations about recommending their bid be accepted. The cost of repairs is budgeted item and we paid from the sewer utility budget. I recommend the bid from Citroform in the amount of $67,344 for the installation of 1,403 linear feet of CIPP sanitary sewer pipe lining to be accepted.
Any questions on this one? we have a long relationship with this company as well.
Yeah, the last time we tried to solicit more than one bid, none of the others,
And close.
no, they didn't even submit bids.
Well, I think when we started working with them, they were the only ones.
Mhm. This is the worst ones in your opinion?
That's, I'm basing it off of Kevin, I rely on him, the ones they have to go back repeatedly and use the sewer rotter to clean them and,
Continual maintenance problems.
correct, and this can.
Chronic.
Yeah.
Okay, if you look at the bid, that price can go up a little bit because if there's any protruding taps that an stitch form has to bust out when they're lining it, there's additional charges that can come with that, but. Which we think there might be a few protruding taps on this one, but.
Are the existing lines, are they terracotta? Sanitary type? Okay,
But,
yeah.
we have,
Those are precarious.
Yeah, I think there's 104,000 linear feet
a plate
in
top,
this town.
yeah,
Clay top.
219,000 total linear feet of sewer. And
Almost half of it's clay.
There's no shortage of places for this.
Get 1,400 feet out there.
We're getting there.
Down like 1,400 feet.
Still progress, still progress.
Is the lifespan of a cured in place? Comparable to
It's
replacing
in
like,
way, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
as long as it's in the ballpark, I
Yeah.
can say that.
oh, yeah.
All right, any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve the bid from Instaform in the amount of $67,344,000, $67,344 for the installation of 1,403 linear feet of CIPP sanitary sewer pipe lining. Ms. Mayor?
I'll second.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. Transient guest tax spending recommendations. I guess I'll cover this.
I would say, do you want to? I can.
So for those of you that may not know, we have the tourism committee and I'm on it along with April Dameron and 5 other committee members. And this is our main job. Is to go through these grant applications and divvy up the money that we have to give out that we get from the transient guest tax. It's a good problem to have that we keep getting more and more applications. Because like Jake was talking about earlier, more events in town usually means more people in town spending money and some end up moving here because of things. So we tried to spread it out pretty good. If anybody has any questions on any of it, I will do my best to answer. But we had to get down to our budgeted number of 35,000. We didn't go under, but we didn't go over, so.
I just had one quick question, Mayor. I think last year it looked like the fund brought in this much and we spent a little bit more, and I kind of voiced a little bit of concern that, now we're starting to take that fund down a little bit. And then all of a sudden we look back and, there's not the amount of money that we really need. So my question is real simplistic. Are we keeping pretty even with funds in and funds out on it?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any reserves in there,
Okay.
but there's really not a big reason to. Because it pretty much can only be used for tourism stuff.
Okay.
So it's not like we can fix the sewer line with the, I mean. So I work with Stephanie, overly work with Stephanie every year to figure out what we have to spend. I ask her to
So
take,
if it's 20,000 there, it just reduces.
it just is dependent upon what the hotel brings in. We have two transient guest tax contributors, the big hotel, and then Kaskaskia Place. So. But I do know Town Square has more events booked this year than they had all of last year already, so hopefully that fund will grow again. Any other questions?
Thank you to you and the tourism committee for putting this all together and going through this.
Second that.
I noticed the cemetery event did not receive any proposed funding. Was that not a well-attended event, or was that more like local?
It was,
people joining in on it?
well, the museum applied for 3 grants total. So that was the one, I think they only had about 60 people at it, which it was a neat event for the world, but we felt like we could get more bang for our buck with some of the other. More relative, like those monthly events, they have more people there every month
Okay.
than at that one cemetery event, so. And the alumni project, it's the first time, so we didn't want to invest, we'll give half and see how it goes, so. Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I move to approve the disbursements from the transient guest tax fund as presented.
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, thank you. We'll be together. All right, next, the ADA ramp at 117 West Peoria.
So Curtis Long, the owner of 117 West Peoria, would like to add an ADA ramp for the front entrance of the building. In order to do this, the ramp would have to be constructed on the sidewalk owned by the city. Patent Structural Solutions is currently remodeling and updating the building and has submitted plans for the ramp. The plans have been reviewed and approved for compliance with ADA regulations. The ramp would extend 4'6" out onto the sidewalk, leaving approximately 7'6" wide clear walkway between the ramp and the edge of the sidewalk. The ramp would be approximately 6 inches tall and 20 feet long overall. To allow for multiple access, there will be steps on the west end of the platform. Staff recommendation is to approve the ramp construction on the city sidewalk at 117 West Peoria Street.
I got a question for you, Mitch. I noticed that the Patton's been having the street closed, doing a lot of concrete work over there. That's not related to this ramp.
No, not the ramp. Right now they're working on footings for the interior of the building,
Okay.
stabilizing everything. That's part of the remodel on the building.
All right,
So, yep, the ramp will be more than likely the last thing if you guys approve it.
okay. All right. Thank you, Mitch.
Any other questions on this? Not, is there a motion?
I move to approve the ramp construction on the city sidewalk at 117 West Peoria Street.
I second the motion.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, motion passed. It's exciting to see the buildings around the square getting some PLC.
Yes, absolutely.
Not from us. Yeah, man, I add. All right, the emergency management plan, resolution 2025-008.
Yes, so as discussed, well, we briefly touched on a work study. Every 4 years, we requested from Miami County to approve this resolution, to be part of the Regional J Hazard Mitigation, plan. This is so our residents have access to the benefits of FEMA. It's the very watered down version of what we are doing. So in order to, commit, we have to approve resolution 2025-008. I will say the plan is 800 pages. I can send you a link if you want to view it. Whoever asked me to do this said, you'll be the first one to read it all if you do. I said, well, thank you, but he did say nothing substantial has changed since the first time we adopted it, so.
We never have to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody have any questions?
I have read it. I'm not missing much, but go ahead.
Is there any considerations with the federal government's movements with FEMA? And should we need to use this, are there guarantees that we will be able to utilize any resources from FEMA?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not sure considering Miami County administers it.
Okay,
So we are just participating.
good, okay.
I would say probably,
I can answer.
you
Go
have,
for it.
Since I was an author in that time ago. You have to have an emergency management plan in order to get FEMA money. If you don't have
Yes.
that, you can't get FEMA. Does that answer your question?
That does, now I got it.
That's exactly it.
FEMA, you don't know,
I
but
didn't want
in
to,
order
but I
to
had to.
capitalize.
No, you're fine. We also are part of the Mid-America Regional Council one too as well. So we'll be able to get regional help as well.
Any other questions? If not, is there a motion?
I'll do it. Make a motion to approve resolution 225-08, adopting the Kansas Homeland Security Region J Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second the motion.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, thank you. 115 West, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so, the introduction is long, and I'm really sorry, but due to that, we have a new member. I'd like to go over the whole introduction. So 115 West Wea, in March 2023, following the Kansas statute for condemning properties, which we have done twice today. The Paola began the lengthy process to require the repair removal of the property at 115 West Wea. In May of 2023, by passing resolution 2023-10, the city council directed the property owners to commence repairs to the building within 30 days. Yes, I'm sorry, and to have them completed within 60. The property owners did not commence any repairs within the first 30-day timeline. The city council had multiple discussions on whether to demolish the building or to repair it. In August of 2023, the city council made the decision to accept the quit claim deed from Thomas and Jennifer Wright for the property and pay the back taxes in the amount of $13,965.15. The city after that contracted with Zingray and Associates for the architectural plans with Norton and Schmidt Consulting Engineers for structural drawings, calculations, and inspections. And on May 14th, 2024, the city approved a bid from Legacy Contractors for the 115 West Wea rehabilitation and modernizations. In total, the payment of back taxes, architectural plans, engineering expense, building construction costs, the whole project was about $400,000. And I do want to reiterate that these were ARPA funds. These were not taxpayer dollars. This was money that was given to us from ARPA. So the issue is, in favor to eliminate any favoritism and promote transparency, the staff recommends the property to be advertised for sale by sealed bids with a minimum bid amount. As a reminder, we did this with the water treatment plant property as well. I believe last year, 2023. Okay. We did contract with Walter Appraisal to attain a commercial appraisal, and then the property as is sits today is appraised at $255,000. Let's see here. Before the city shall sell the property, it will need to claim the property as surplus. So this is kind of a twofold. We'll need to claim it as surplus by passing resolution 2025-009. And then the council will motion to set a minimum bid amount that we can put with the bid advertisement. So is there any questions for me?
Looks good. I got them in.
All right.
Excellent.
Long time coming.
Yes, very long time coming.
Anybody have any questions on this? If not, is there a motion for the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-09 claiming 115 West Wea as surplus property. Ms. Mayor.
There's a second?
I'll second it.
Quiet tonight.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Now we can set the minimum sale amount. Anybody have any comments they want to make on that?
I have a few comments if you
Yep.
don't mind. I went and talked to several realtors and asked around and I have what I don't want to happen is I don't want to set a minimum below the appraised value at this point. Because if we do that right off the bat and somebody comes in and buys it for a certain amount of money, then I see it 2 weeks later, put it for sale. And we're trying to recoup as much money as we can over there because we do have other expenditures that are needed for the city that we need to go to. So may not get it, but I think at least this is one councilman's opinion. I think we set it at 255,000. If we get no interest in it, and I think that, and I know that we got to get those funds and move them over to other stuff as soon as we can, that we would be remiss in not taking a full advantage of our appraiser. And again, I'm not just one of four, but where I'm sitting at now is set the value at 255,000. And then Ms. Mayor, if any other council members has any opinion, I respect that.
was kind of thinking the same thing.
Start with the appraisal.
If staff's okay with that, like, I think there's no reason to think that it would sell for less than the appraised value, but. So, I think in due diligence is the best.
I agree.
It's a third party value, like it's. It's not arbitrary.
Ms. Shannon, how long do you put this out before you get the bids back? How many days? I suppose there's a statutory minimum on it.
Actually, the city council can sell it any way they deem necessary. So if someone comes in today, you said, I want it, I'll give it to you. So there's not a statutory requirement or amount of time. Typically, we give at least 30 days.
Okay.
So maybe to the next meeting.
Yes, yes, we can do next meeting. It'll be a little shorter than 30 days because it won't be published in the paper until next week.
Oh, yeah.
So I would recommend keeping it open till probably June,
Yeah.
You guys good
to make
with
the
that?
final
I'm
decision.
good with it.
I like I wasn't thinking that way, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to realtor, like I said, what we want to do is that we've got an expenditure out there. We do have needs for the money that we do get out of it. I just don't want to leave anything on the table, but then also talking to some realtors and that I asked them about it is, you know, you don't want somebody coming there and looks like, you know, you're sell it for this much. And then 2 weeks later, and it just makes us look like we didn't do according is our due diligence. And the first question is, well, how come you didn't ask for a appraised price, which I would not have an answer for.
And we're doing that, yeah.
So,
And people, I mean, Rob George has a great reputation
yeah.
here,
It's
and it's
beautiful.
a great building, so people know what they're getting, unlike maybe some other stuff, so. All right, is there a motion then?
I make a motion that we set the minimum sale value of $115 we all property at the appraised value of $255,000 and advertise the sale of the property per city manager's volition. That's a bad word, but that's what I'm using.
Discretion.
Somebody will put that in.
Like it, thank you.
Our French there for a little bit.
I'll second that.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right,
A lot of hard work there, Randy, by everybody.
next, the Paola Alumni Festival event.
I did have Jana Harrington Barkus with the Paola Alumni Festival reach out to me. The museum has taken that event over this year. They will be doing that on June 7th. They would like to have a meet in the square kind of deal, just kind of people in the gazebo telling stories, and they thought it would be nice if they could have alcoholic beverages. So in order to do that, the council has to approve for them to have alcohol on city property, and it has to be approved by resolution. So that resolution is attached for your consideration. There is a time
Don't have
limit
to
on that
close
too.
off anything to be able to do that.
No.
What about insurance? Do they have to carry insurance?
Yes, every special event will require insurance, yes.
Okay.
I've got a question for you, Miss Mayor.
Mhm.
Dennis Doherty, of course, Dennis passed away a couple of years ago. Is this in place of what they're doing out there?
So Barry Williams, that was involved when Dennis was involved,
Yeah.
is working alongside the museum.
We moved out of there.
Mhm.
Okay, I guess Leanne could have answered that. Yes, this is in place of. Any other questions or comments? Not, is there a motion?
I move to approve the resolution 2025-010, allowing the consumption of alcoholic beverages in the Park Square on June 7th, 2025, from 1:30 PM to 5:30 PM.
Second.
McMahon.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
All right, thank you. And this is not, I don't think this is the only event that weekend, but this is the only one on our property. I think they're still having a big thing, maybe at the Eagles or something
Yes.
afterward.
Yeah.
All right, miscellaneous matters from the council. Anything, JR?
Thank you, Miss Staff.
I did.
Sorry, I read the bottom of that page.
Oh, it's down there by itself. I was gonna skip you guys.
That's me.
I'm off tonight. Chief, do you have anything?
Our IT stuff will be complete and on board 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. The big change of that is that, all PD personnel have new email addresses, lopd.gov now. That's the big change. We also are in the process of our, training of our new software that is countywide. So hopefully that goes live in May, and that project will be done. So we're glad all that's over.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Go ahead.
Can we ask questions? Any update on the new police vehicles?
No, we have not heard anything when we're gonna get delivery of the vehicles. It's typically around June. May, June is when we get them, and then it'll take us about a month to get them all fitted. So yes, my staff is asking me on a regular basis. I just got asked again today. You heard anything? No.
I wanted to commend your officers as well. My wife and I were headed into El Potro the other day, and there was an alarm that had been tripped off, and they just handled this situation very politely and professionally. So kudos to your guys.
Thank you.
Just a couple things, everybody knows we've been battling the fiber companies for a while, that's coming to an end, so far, it sounds like most of them will be done drilling next week, the end of next week, as they say. But, then clean up the following week. I've told every project manager and every crew that before they let a crew leave, they need to go back and retrace all their steps and make sure everything's restored. So hopefully in a few weeks, we'll be done with the drills around town. The only other thing would be, progress on the dam. They are right now doing finished grade on the top of the dam with dirt, then they will start doing road rock, base rock at the end of the week. They expect to be there. They have the company scheduled to do the new guardrails for the first week of May. So thinking the second week of May, they will be completely done.
That's good.
How much was that project, Mr. Marler?
2.1 million.
Yes.
2.1, thanks.
And when we started talking about it was one,
But we.
Yeah.
Well done. In the dam,
Yeah.
in the dam, I don't know the terminology. The dam was in, what would the state call it? They didn't call it a failing dam, at risk. What was that terminology?
High hazard.
Yep,
High
high
hazard,
hazard,
thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
And
High
so
hazard dam,
we
thank you.
got $500,000 from the state.
Yeah.
Okay,
very
thank
good.
you.
I did see that Comcast donated to the community center, so
Yes, it is.
maybe that helps a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing all right. I have a feeling we're gonna be for months from months from now, we'll still be dealing with it. I think we're still gonna have to find sewer hits and stuff that didn't surface till later,
Yeah.
so. I've talked to a couple of them about having those issues, and they actually keep a retainage from each one of their contractors. So they are holding back, of course, that's only gonna be for so many months that they'll hold their retainage, but, so the battle's not over, but at least they'll be gone.
Yeah, yeah. Make it a little easier. Mitch?
We are up to 114 building permits year to date. A couple weeks ago, I did a sweep of the town for nuisances. And turned up almost 100 new nuisance cases. And out a lot of letters.
Did you rattle?
I added to my list.
So.
We do have spring cleanup coming up, so I gave everybody until April 14th, until after spring cleanup, to get it all put out and taken care of. At that point, I'll go drive around and do another check and take care of what needs to be taken care of from there.
Mhm.
I'd imagine there's probably gonna be some tickets wrote. I've already wrote 6 of them throughout this. The court's gonna get very busy. I applied for the firehouse subs grant, last week to get the city 7 new AEDs. and bleed stop kits for them, to go throughout community center, library, city hall, public works, and the sewer plant, and the pool, a new one. Haven't heard anything yet. Believe within the next 2 months, I should hear something on it. Planning commission for next week. We have a design review for a potential new home at 705 East Shawnee. It butts up to the Arista property there at the end of Shawnee. They're wanting a metal sided building, and design standards don't allow for that in our LDO, so they have to request a deviation from them. They have added a lot of landscaping around it. It looks really good in the rendering, so I'm hopeful for it. San Jose, new Mexican restaurant going in at Spring of China. They got their building permit today.
Good.
So they are hard at work, and we're hopeful that they'll be able to work quick and get open quick, so. We have a probable new business on the square at 23 West Tria, called the Ice Cream House. And the owner has 2 other locations in Ottawa and Baldwin. And both those locations look really good. The one in Ottawa is kind of a downtown district as well. And from the pictures I've seen, it looks like a really nice place. So I'm excited to see that go in. He's gonna be working on getting a building permit to spruce it up and make it how he needs it. And then go ahead and do inspections. Hopefully he can get open shortly. So
Very good.
that's all I have.
Exciting. Randy?
I have nothing new to add at this moment in time.
Okay. Nothing? Okay, now, council.
Just a couple things here is, well, a lot of times we talk around businesses around the square, so I'm driving around. Looking at the homework you gave us the other day, Ms. Shannon, I looking at that. So I said, let's just count businesses, and I counted, and I didn't count the fringe shop. And again, I did square, then I expanded out to those little side deals and occupied buildings, and I'm throwing in the senior center and things like that, but I came right at 50 businesses. And that was a little bit surprising. A lot of people thinking, oh, there's not many, there's buildings that are empty. Don't get me wrong. But I was surprised about that number of businesses. One quick question. I think the building that we're in gets paid off this year. Is that a true statement? Or do you guys know yet? Our last payment on this thing.
It's in 26.
Is it next year?
26 is the last payment, yes.
Next year.
They extended it.
Okay. And I don't believe we have a vice president of the council at this point, Ms. Mayor.
I think you're correct, because it was Debbie.
Oh, yeah. So do we need to have an election for vice president, or how do we?
It's not required. I think the president's required, but we just go the extra step and do vice president, so.
If you'd like to do that now, you
Do you
can.
guys want to elect a vice president?
I'd like to elect a vice president.
Okay, go for it. Make a nomination.
I nominate Miss Leanne Shields as vice president.
Second.
Well.
I,
Hebo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
I maybe. No, that's okay. Aye.
and congratulations.
Yeah, look at you go. Okay, anything else, JR?
That's it, I'm done.
Okay, Anthony?
I don't have it.
Nothing? Okay,
It's a learning experience.
yeah. Josh? Leanne?
I don't have any.
All right.
All right, I just have a couple of things. First, consider the appointment of David Hayes to the Paola Planning Commission. David is Debbie's husband, so as soon as she came off the council, David's a contractor and knows the codes very well. Thought he'd be good on the planning commission. He's excited. So I could get a motion for that.
I move to appoint David Hayes to the Paola Planning Commission.
Second the motion.
McGann.
Aye.
Hugo.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Shields.
Aye.
And so we had the chamber coffee at Lola's on Friday. And it is amazing in there, if anybody hasn't been in, but Mike and Carol just have like an energy for the downtown, and they're excited about future plans, and he told me he bought Max Garage.
He did.
Oh, he
Yes,
is. That's good.
so that's who bought Max Garage. He's not jumping into that quite yet, but he's got really cool ideas for it as well. He divulges all this stuff to me. I don't know, we've become friends. Anyway, I know there's a group of them that are meeting about just future plans, and they're meeting with Lynn Cutsforth, who's done stuff. So I think there's some really new, fun, fresh energy around the square, and I'm excited.
That's awesome.
So, also, the San Jose thing reminded me, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes at City Hall before we ever see things here. Sometimes I get looped in because somebody's upset and they threaten to call the mayor. But you guys do so much good stuff and make it very streamlined, and easy for us by the time we see it.
Our goal is to make your guys.
You have many, many headaches sometimes before they ever get here, so I just wanna tell you thank you. And that is all I have. If anybody wants to adjourn, or we can hang out.
That's your job, good job.
Okay. I make a motion to.
Did you two get a talk?
And then he.
And then you talk.
Yeah.
That was short. Your turn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Hugo,
Aye.
Brown,
Bye.
Shields.
Aye.
Welcome to the party.